Thank you for tuning in to this special edition of the VULCAN Report. This is FOMC Day, and the announcement is imminent. As you can see on this side of the screen right here, got your CNBC playing there. We can go ahead and let that play in the background for a few minutes. But
flooding the engine, but we
bottom
take
line
spark
is,
plugs. If at some stage
they're not
inflation
going to raise
expectations
rates.
return,
They
it's
cannot
not
raise
going to be that
interest
easy
rates.
to put them back in that
If you take here, look here, this ticker here, this is the Dow futures.
David, I agree
It's
with
up
you. I actually
26.
think I'm not
It's
worried about
off of the
inflation this
intraday
whole
highs,
time,
as you can tell.
fiscal stimulus is coming.
Same thing with the
along
NASDAQ.
Easy money
100.
together.
It's
We're
off
going to
the
get
highs.
inflation in 3 to 5 years.
Off the
a lot
lows,
more
too.
than people
Okay,
think.
Diane, David, Scott, Danielle, just sit tight, everybody. We got 15 seconds. The Dow is up 28 points, but as John said, got a big bet maybe on the VIX there. The NASDAQ is up 4 points. The 10-year yield at 1.69. The dollar index 95.86, and oil up 2.5%. Let's go down to Steve Leisman for the Fed decision.
No change. No change
What
in
did I
interest
tell
rates.
you?
The Federal Reserve decided to keep interest rates between 1/4 and 1/2%.
And
But
look
the Fed did
at
say, however,
silver.
the case for an increase in the Federal Reserve funds rate has
You see that pop right
but
here?
decided for the time being, quote, to wait for further
And now it's
evidence
coming
of
back
continued
down.
progress
The
towards
Dow
its
popped up to
objectives.
the 20,
Fed said
up
near-term risk to
43
the economic
points.
outlook
Right now it's
appear
only up
roughly
14
balanced,
points.
and
It's
it
just jumping
previously
and
said
skipping
that
all over the
risks
place.
have diminished. This is the sort of language it had used in the past. In September,
See them pounding the metals
2014,
now?
this-
Look at that.
2015 to signal a rate hike.
Let me put it
in
on the big
coming
screen here
months.
so you can see it.
3 presidents dissented. Eric Rosengren from Boston, Loretta Mester from Cleveland, and Esther George from Kansas City. All 3 preferred a Federal Reserve interest rate hike. That is the most dissents since December 2014.
Yeah, sure they did.
Significant changes to the dot plots, the Fed's own forecast for the Federal Reserve funds rate. This year, it signals just 1 hike. 3 Federal Reserve presidents or officials are at no hike. 10 are at 1 hike. 3 are at 2 hikes. A very wide dispersion, suggesting a somewhat divergent Fed here. For the future years, all the interest rate forecasts came down. 2016 down by 1/4. 2017 down by 1/2. 2018 down by 1/2. 2019, we get that for the first time. 2.63 is the expectation, and the long run rate 2.8%, down by 13 basis points. I point this out in part because the CNBC Fed survey has these exact numbers. The Fed has come down
both
to
sides
where
of the market.
the market expectations are.
If you're short, they're going to stop you out on your sell stops. If you're long, they're going
On
to
the
stop you out
statement
on
and the
your
state of the economy,
your
the
sell
Fed
stops.
saying
If
the
you're
labor
short, they're
market
going to knock you out on your buy
continues to
stops.
strengthen.
It runs
Said
both
the
ends of the
economic
market.
growth has picked
This
up from a
FOMC
modest pace in the
parabolic
first
bar
half of the year,
goes
said
all the way
job
back
gains
to
have
the
been
year
solid,
2000, folks.
and said but left out the
This is
phrase
why you
that
got to
there's
stay
been
out
increase in labor utilization.
on Fed days
Finally,
where
household spending
there's
said
a
is
lot
growing
of
strongly.
uncertainty.
Business fixed investment is soft.
Because
Inflation
these
remains
parabolic
below the
bars
Fed's
make it so that you
2%
can't win.
target,
You don't
reflecting
know the
earlier declines
extent
in
of the
energy and
upper
prices.
or lower
One more thing in the forecast you
end of
guys
the
might
wicks.
see
There's no
is
way
that
to know that.
the long run
Okay?
rate for growth for the first time,
So they run
I
your
believe,
stops.
is now below 2%.
And now here we are jumping and skipping all over the
growth rate of
place.
the United States.
Don't you like
just
it?
1.8%.
Let's take a look at the Dow, what that one looks like.
All right, Steve Leisman. So, no change in rates. Those idiots who thought the Fed was going to raise rates were clearly wrong. The Dow Jones.
See, they just called you guys idiots for believing that they were going to raise rates.
Points, so we're seeing that put. But so, Danielle, you worked for the Fed for years and years and years. You heard some of the language. 3 dissents. What's your take?
Look, I think that she was going to get 3 dissents regardless. I think she would have had
divided Fed, Danielle.
I think she would have had 3
Fed.
dissent, but the optics would have been so much worse because they would have been governors dissenting. We haven't seen that since Gramlich in 2005 when he was concerned about the subprime bubble. So I think she would rather have had 3 regional presidents dissent
they do on Fed
than
days.
have actual
Undetermined.
mutiny on her own board.
Right. Well, it's interesting.
Too much uncertainty today, folks. You had to stay
really
out.
sets us up
This
for
is
December.
why I told everyone in the Black Ops trading room this morning, you know, have your fun. And then I told you when and where to get out. Had you listened to me,
No, Diane, what do
you
you
wouldn't have got caught up in all of this right
you
here.
know, I mean,
See what I'm
it's
saying?
December, but one of the
Power to
interesting
pulse
things on the
waves, people.
dissents, and I don't see the statement right now, but we have 3 dissents that we knew were out there. It's been very unusual that Yellen has not had more dissents all year because we knew that
Let's see
many
how
of the
well they
presidents were
defended
ready
the
to
dollar
often vote for more than
doing
one
all
person
this
in the dissenting process.
nonsense.
The Rosengren dissent, my guess is a little different than the Mester and the Esther George dissent. They both
Look at
wanted to
that.
raise rates because they feel we've made the threshold.
Look
We're
at that
worried about
dollar,
inflation.
man.
We're worried about getting behind the curve. Rosengren is worried about
Shook
bubble
you out.
and has that view about
Stopped
leaning
you the
against
heck
the
out. Look
wind,
at
which
that.
is kind of a trichet
What a
for
run.
that. that if we raise rates, we can derail.
Historically, the dollar didn't move this much in a month.
About bubbles. And it's not
I'm
clear
serious.
what that will
The
do.
dollar didn't
If-
used to
if
move
we
this
actually
much in a
derail
month.
Bubbles,
Look at that,
if it,
man.
you know, they burst bubbles. We don't
Crazy.
know. We're really in uncharted waters on this.
Well, it's interesting, though. Diane says she refers to Trichet. That turned out to be a massive mistake on the part of the ECB.
No kidding.
It did.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
No, I mean, to Rosengren's point,
Look at that.
and bubble blowing and commercial real estate, and he's been very public in,
Let's see.
in his
The
concerns.
height of this is
The trade without the
96.01 all the way down
I mean,
to
a rate hike at this point
95.32.
could go the other way in terms
So
of
they
in terms
collapsed
of
it down to
inflicting damage on the economy.
95.32
By
right
the way,
all the
before we
way
get to
up.
hey,
Hey,
Steve,
guys.
before we get to
The
Steve,
96
just, can we take a look at gold and the GDX, the gold miners? By the way, gold is, Scott, I know you liked gold. Gold is up big, and the gold miners, the GDX ETF is up 5%. Steve, sorry about that. It's a big market move.
Yeah, I want to.
Oh, you
point
hear
out
that? They're
there's
talking about
language in
your
here that
GDX.
kind of plays
Isn't
right
that
into
just
the Fed's
wonderful?
critics here when it says
Wow,
the case for an
look
increase
at
in
that.
the funds rate has strengthened. But
Someone
decided
just
for the
finished
time
talking
being
about
to
the
wait for
miners. I
further
could have
evidence of
sworn I
continued
heard
progress.
someone
There's not even an
yesterday
excuse there.
talking
I mean,
about
there's
the
not even anything
miners
where it says, here's the reason
exploding.
why we're waiting. We're
I
just
know
waiting
who
for
that
more.
was.
So
That was
there are
that
people out there who
dude,
keep
V,
saying,
the gorilla
you know what, the Fed will
economist,
find
and that
any
dude, the
excuse
Vulcan he had
to
on
keep
there
rates
yesterday.
down. And right here, they're just saying we
Yeah,
have
they
no
talked
excuse, we're
about
just not raising
the
rates.
exploding,
And I think
impending
there is an
explosion of
unspoken,
these miners.
reason
Wow,
here
man,
also, which is
those
we
are
are
smart
7
dudes. Look at
weeks
this.
away from a presidential election. They had
What you gonna
not
say
set
about
up
that? All right,
markets
you
for this.
talked enough. I'm
So
turning
if they
you
had
off. Look at this. Absolutely amazing, isn't it? What you gonna say about that? Let's look at these. Let's look at these futures, man. Look at this gold futures real quick. Insane. Shook out them weak hands and exploded. That's why I be trying to tell you, you can't day trade these markets, man. You can't. You gotta swing trade these puppies. All right, you gotta hold overnight. Day traders rule the day, but swing traders rule the night. Don't you ever forget it. All right, I'm finished playing around. This is my first video coming back off of bed and being on my back, and now I'm back. Let's look at hack. That rhymes with back. Well, what do you know? That's good for the pocketbook, but not good for the United States of America. This lets you know that we're getting closer to a what? False flag. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, guard your internet, folks. Look at this. 2750 is in play, and so is 28. Yeah, this thing wants to go to 28, you guys. This is not looking good. This is set at the rate this thing is going. This is starting to look like, let me just pull it up on the big picture here. This is starting to look like, I want to say October, man. Something could be up in October. No, I'm not talking about a stock market crash. I've already explained to you there's no such thing. This right here is saying that there's some type of military operation under works. I know it involves the internet. I would not be surprised if they were ready to straight up gas the people and claim Al-Qaeda or somebody else did it. I'm dead serious. Keep your eyes and ears open, folks. If you see military gathering in one spot for an extended period of time, you need to report it, make a video. You need to shoot it, record that joint, upload it, seriously, because that's where the attack will be coming from. It's homeland military, U.S. homeland military operations on American soil to do acts of terrorism, so that we can blame it on other people, so that we can get into another war. All right, and I think this time they want to use like some kind of chemical, biological weapons. We know that zombies is really popular right now with the Walking Dead and stuff like that, and Zika viruses and stuff. Well, how do you think all that stuff is spread, man? That's chemical, biological warfare. They can rain it down on you with the rain and the chemtrails. They can throw it in the water supply. There's so many different mechanisms of delivery they could use. I'm just saying, keep your eyes and ears open, folks. All right, this video's gone on too long. I need to get back to work. I'll hit y'all up later. I'm still working on the futures, forex, and Bitcoin algorithms. After the computers, blew up, I'm rebuilding everything. More than halfway there. So, Lord willing, as I'm getting back up to speed, I'll have all that stuff knocked out. If there's anyone, like I said, that I still have have not gotten back to. If you have not received your study course materials or your username and passwords and stuff to get into the premium Black Ops trading room, please send me an email. Hit me up, because all this stuff that I saw in my inbox has already gone out. So from my standards, I'm caught up. But if I miss something, send me, hit me up, shoot me an email, say, hey, I didn't get my stuff or whatever, and attach your receipt that you got when you purchased it, so I can go back and double check our records to see what's going on. But we'll take care of you. All right, we'll make sure you get what you need. And with that said, remember, bulls make money, bears make money, but pigs get slaughtered. So take what you can, give nothing back.